No, come on. I sought his permission for a banter, right? Thank you, thank you. So he made, the former finance minister made a very linear comparison as to how the GDP has grown from 1991-92, 25 lakh crore, and then 50 lakh crore, and then 100 lakh crores, and so on, and then wondered if I will say that by the end of 23-24, India will have 100 lakh crore as the GDP. That is, if I understood, if I heard him right, he said going by the trend of doubling every 10 years, it might. So I'm confident that the question is asked with a certain sense of confidence that the Indian economy and people are contributing for its growth. But I would only refer to one editorial which appears today in a paper. I'm not saying my view, but if you would permit me, and I will also do an authentication and everything else, there is an editorial in the Economic Times today which says, a $4 trillion plus we go, GDP expected to catch up in the coming fiscal, and goes to elaborate, and there's just one line that I'll read for the House, for the benefit of the House, and I quote, as India's GDP rises, would the market cap rise in tandem? Though there is no direct correlation, there could be significant wealth effects that provide tailwinds to the economy. Retail investors own 10% of the equity, about $400 billion, and their share has been rising. That should help consumption, which accounts for close to 60% of the GDP. So, linking that to the growth of the GDP itself, this write-up, which is an editorial in a paper, which is a pink paper, which observes the Indian economy, we get a picture and a probable answer to the former finance minister. Sir, then the worker population ratio was also another issue that the Honorable former finance minister raised. I just want to highlight incorrect it was for him to suggest that the worker population ratio has not improved. There is, obviously he's done some kind of a, if you permit me, whimsical calculation there and then, and which serves him well, and the interpretation is not right. As per the PLFS, that is the Periodic Labor Force Survey, WPR, the worker population ratio, that is the share of the employed in the total population, has increased to 56% in 2022-23 from 46.8% in 2017-18. And I underline the fact that this is post-COVID, that it has gone up to 56%. So there is an increase in the worker population ratio, and this is government's data. So youth unemployment rate, that is the age between 15 to 29, has declined. Unemployment rate has declined to 10% in 2022-23 from 17.8% in 17-18. So there, the unemployment is also declined, while youth LFPR has expanded from 38% to 44.5% over the same period. So unemployment is coming down. You have the data to show it's also, employment is also going up. In fact, sir, WPR in 2005 was 42%, which fell to 38.6% in 2011-12. So fall happened then. Then, despite a COVID, which is a once-in-a-century pandemic, we have revived the employment, and the data shows that very clearly. And also, sir, the various schemes that we have, Mudra or Swanidhi and so on, are promoting self-employment, particularly the lower sections of our society. More than 25 lakh crores have been dispersed to over 44 crore Mudra accounts. 68% of them are women. They do their own business and probably employ 1 or 2 more people there. 73 lakh street vendors have availed of cheap credit under PM Swanidhi program, and even in that 44% are women. So I think the hard work and the entrepreneurial spirit of the Indian youth who go in for small self-employment cannot be ignored at convenience and cannot be raised saying, oh, the poor are without jobs at some other time. There should be some kind of a alignment. So this was raised by very many members, other than former Finance Minister Kanimuri, Dr. Ashok Kumar Mittal, and also Sujit Kumarji, Jose K. Mani. All of them had raised this issue. So then the attempt to bring more employment, self-employment among women is also shown by the program that has been recently launched. And I saw with my eyes when I went to the rural areas, particularly with the Vikasit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, I saw the excitement among women because Namo Drone Didi program is an amazing reception that I saw, where the women self-help group women are being picked up based on their interest, to be given 15 days of training to operate drone, and subsequently in the 15 days, 5 days will be also on the field where they will go and test for themselves how to operate it, because they can use for spraying of fertilizers, for monitoring the crop health, and so on. So they are going to be given drones as well through their SHGs. So women are now going to be handling technology-driven drones in the villages to help agricultural activity, and what can be more empowering for the women in the rural areas? Government's idea is to distribute 15,000, provide 15,000 drones to self-help groups, and for this an outlay of 1,261 crores. This scheme is 100% funded by the central government for a period between 2024-25 and 25-26. 2 years, this scheme will reach all the women in the rural areas so that they're trained in technologically handling this drone. Sir, concern has been expressed about inflation and inflation management. Quite a few members, Rajiv Shuklaji, Ashok Mittalji, Derek O'Brien, all raised the issue. Sir, average inflation during 2014-15 up to 2023-24 has only been around 5.5%. Now, since 2014, the retail inflation breached the number and reached the highest point of 7.79 in April 2022. I concede that. But by contrast, of course, because that is important to remind ourselves, that between 2004 and 14, the average inflation was 8.1%. So I just want this number to be in the back of our minds. And in between 2009 to 14, 2009 to 2014, the average inflation was 10.4%, double-digit inflation. So I just want that to be highlighted. We have taken quite a few steps to make sure that I know the Consumer Affairs Minister, the Food Minister Piyush Goyal, the Leader of the House, has been on and off releasing pulses, on and off releasing onions from the godown, from the buffer stock. Procurement and distribution of tomatoes and onions are happening as and when there is a need. Imposition of stock limits have been on pulses and wheat. Our trade policy also sees changes so that our buffer is kept safely for ourselves. And import restrictions and quotas have been introduced on specific commodities. More than that, sir, you would recall that the Honorable Prime Minister, before Raksha Bandhan, had brought down the price of cylinders by 200 rupees. And this impacted 9.8 crore Ujjwala beneficiaries, and who now get 300 rupees subsidy, and the cylinder costs 603 rupees only for them. And similarly, it has been mentioned by several people, the PM Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana provides 81.35 crore beneficiaries for the next 5 years food grains for free. Contrast this, sir, contrast this with those states which, when we reduced the duty on petrol and diesel, did not reduce. And some of those states were lost by those ruling dispensation because it kept the price very high. And I would just recall that Punjab, Rajasthan were all such states who refused to budge. On the contrary, Punjab even raised the price. So, Himachal also. So, these are states which are going against the well-being of the poor, but question us, saying, oh, you're not taking care of the poor. Why wouldn't you want to reduce the price? We have done it 3 times, and now it's come down to 603 per cylinder, sir. That's right. Sir, and that is why people rejected them. Petrol and diesel being the highest price, sir, you come from Rajasthan, and in that state, the price has remained very high. Inflation as a result has been high. No wonder the people have rejected them. So there were concerns expressed about savings in the economy. Quite a few members had spoken about it. Household savings are also going towards asset creation. I want to bring that dimension in because it's important for us to recognize that when households do have some money in their hand, they also want to invest in assets such as having a own house. Then households added net financial assets of 22.8 lakh crore in the year 21, financial year 2021. Nearly 17.0 lakh crores in 22 and 13.8 lakh crores in 23. This can't, of course, be seen in isolation. This is an incremental purchase of an asset for themselves. They're making smarter choices, not just putting it in post office accounts. People are also now investing in the retail market. Retail market consists of small investors who are coming for small shares, and they're doing it on their own, not going through mutual funds. Overall household savings, sir, which includes financial and physical savings, grew at 9.2% CAGR between 13-14 and 21-22. That is 8 years. It's grown in that kind of a number. The nominal GDP has grown at CAGR 9.65 during the same period. Hence, the household savings has remained constant. It has not come down. But the fact that it is going also to through the stock markets, net unique account, demat account opened are also reaching record numbers. I just want to highlight that the asset under management of the Indian mutual fund industries, for those who are going through the mutual fund, has grown 5 times in 10 years from 8.34 lakh crores in October 2013 to 46.71 lakh crores in October 2023. Total demat accounts in India, have crossed 13 crores, the highest ever touched in India. It has increased by almost 6 times since 2014, when it was only 2.18 crores. It has tripled since the onset of COVID-19, which is a remarkable point to be observed. So there was also a lot of concern about US dollar strengthening against the Indian rupee. I just want to highlight the recent article which has come up, sir. The clearest sign that things are going well, a stable currency, was the title of that article. And it quotes Rupee has lost less than 1% of its value against the US dollar this year. And this is an article which was published in Wall Street Journal, a leading US newspaper, on 28th November. It's not something which is old, 28th November. The title of that article was interesting. It said, virtually everything has gone right for India. And in that it says, rupee has lost, and I quote, rupee has lost less than 1% of its value against the US dollar this year, compared with the decline of more than 3% for the Chinese yuan, a roughly 9% fall in the South African rand, and an 11% slide in the Japanese yen. Indian economy is benefiting from reforms put in place by the government of Prime Minister Modi, unquote. This is Wall Street Journal telling about the Indian rupee versus the US dollar. And I'd like to recall that several months ago, I spoke about the Indian rupee standing up to the dollar and the dollar's value going up, but the rupee not losing value. There was complete mockery at me, saying, oh, how can this be? That goes up and you don't come down. Please do read. Then you'll know why the Indian rupee stands stable against an ever-increasing dollar. And that cannot happen unless the Indian economy and its fundamentals are strong. It's not a fiction. It's not a fiction of my imagination.